Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is John Campea, and this is a companion video. Now, what are companion videos? Well, I'm awfully glad that you asked. See, every day on the John Campea Show, we take time for live questions, but we often don't have time to get around to all the live questions that get sent in. But I want to make sure those questions get answered properly in a video, so I gather up those questions, bring them over here, and we answer them on companion videos. Now, it is, I believe it's Monday. Yes, it is Monday, July the 1st. So these are questions we didn't have time to get around to on this morning's John Campea Show. So let's not waste any time and start getting caught up. And we're going to get things started here with Jeffrey Niven, who writes, "The popcorn you're eating has been pissed in, film at 11. I'm assuming that's a reference to something. It's going completely over my head. I don't know what if Rob was here, maybe you would know what it is. Connor Farley writes, rumors Ana de Armas is being considered may have been cast as Catwoman. Her circus possibly, and Pattinson is fantastic. Thoughts? I've heard nothing about that, so I doubt that's true. I know she unfortunately was just recently cut out of like her scenes in Yesterday. Her character was completely cut out, but I don't believe there's anything to that. Let me just look it up here, just for a second here. Ana de Armas. See if there's anything in the news here about her at all. Nothing. There's nothing. So wherever you're getting those rumors from, it's probably not true. I mean, as with any rumor, sure, I think there's probably a possibility, but considering nobody legitimate is reporting on any of this, I probably wouldn't pay any attention to it, Connor. Rob J00 writes, "The Witcher wallpaper looks amazing. I can't wait." I'll tell you what, again, for me, there was nothing super special about that art that came out today for The Witcher with Henry Cavill. The reason I got excited was not because it was anything revolutionary, but it was simply because, again, it's that word, tangibilization. It's real now. Like, there's actually a poster out there. It's real. It's coming. They still haven't told us when, but probably soon. And I'm super stoked for it, and I just can't wait to see it. Let's see. Ryan Lohner writes, "What's worth more, making more money than Avatar, or people still remembering your movie ever existed a year later?" Making more money than Avatar. Yeah, you can't pay your rent with people remembering your movie a year later. It reminds me of this joke, because everybody in Hollywood tries to get people to work for free. Oh, think of the exposure you'll get and all this kind of stuff, right? And I see a lot of YouTube channels doing that. I see a couple of YouTube channels that have a lot of money, big networks, and they constantly get people to work for free. Now, look, I've never been able to pay people a ton of money, but wherever I went, I always made it a point saying, if people come in and do stuff for us, we pay them. We pay them. That's what we do. So I don't believe in this whole work for free kind of stuff. But at any rate, so there's always this joke about people in Hollywood working saying, you know what, you can't pay your rent in exposure. So money would be great. I would say what's worth more? Money. Money is worth more. Now, don't get me wrong. The idea of people still remembering your work later is great, but you want to get paid for your work. So I'm going to go making more money is probably worth more. Mark Newman writes, welcome back, Chris. Or welcome aboard, Chris. Of course, this morning, Chris Carr was on our show this morning, and she'll be back. With that last name, her last name is Carr, C-A-R-R. I assume you'll drive an evil talking, oh, I get it, 80s Trans Am. So in the Knight Rider, Kit, the car, had an evil twin named Carr. Instead of, Kit, K-I-T-T, Knight Industries 2000, it was Carr, so it was K-A-R-R. I can't remember what it stood for. But no, hers is with a C, not a K. So she's totally safe. No evil cars here. Daniel Lagerstat writes, Lagerstet. Anyway, hopefully I'm not butchering it too badly. Greetings, John and crew. I'm in LA for vacation and wondering which movie theater would you recommend visiting? The most historic, iconic theater there is, the Chinese theater. Now, it's been renovated a lot, but you cannot help but still feel the history when you're there. And don't just go to the outside and look at it. Go in. And again, it has been completely renovated a couple of years ago. It's now a state-of-the-art theater, but it's maintained all of its history and character. And if you're going to go to any movie theater in LA, go to the most historic. That's the Chinese theater. It's the movie theater that actually debuted the original Star Wars film and a lot of others. That's the place you got to go, and that's the place you got to see. All right. The Sock writes, most bland A movie you've ever seen. I'll be honest with you, sock buddy, I have no idea what it is you're asking. Most bland A movie you've ever seen. No clue what it is you're asking. Sorry about that, buddy. Wind Goddess writes, happy Monday. Love the show today. Chris is awesome. I do like Chris. And I took in over I was looking for somebody to come in, and I got over 400 resumes. I invited in like 35 people to interview and did a lot of interviews the other day, and met with a couple of people another time after that, and I just really felt good about Chris. She's got this great dynamic energy. I'll tell you what, that energy and that poppiness that she has on camera, I'm telling you, that's her off camera. Like, that's not her. There are some YouTubers that are like one way on camera, another way off camera. What you see with her is what you get. Like this bubbliness about her, that is completely her. Like, when I sat down across from a table with her, that's her. That's exactly the same person you got there. She's completely a delight. I really enjoyed her on the show today. I think a lot of you guys did too. Jedi Bananas writes, Lion King comes out the week of San Diego Comic-Con. Any chance they'll have some sort of party/screening on Wednesday of Comic-Con? I doubt it. And the reason I doubt it is because they know there's no need to do something like that. Like, it's expensive to put something like that together, and there's really no purpose for it, and there's really no need to do it. So, considering it's going to be out in every theater the next day. So, yeah. I mean, some people, was like, why on earth would they release it on the same weekend as Comic-Con? Well, granted, a lot of people go to Comic-Con, but only 200,000 people go to Comic-Con. That's a huge number, but not compared to the world. So even if everybody from Comic-Con went to Lion King, that's only $2 million worth of box office. So it's not that big of a deal. So that's why they're doing it there. And no, I doubt they'll do it. I mean, it would be fun if they did, but they're not really getting anything for that sort of money that they'd be putting into it. So I'm going to guess they won't, but damn, I would be happy if they did, because that would be a really fun thing for them to do. Stubble McShave writes, yesterday's box office was low. Beatles songs are expensive. Well, the expense of the Beatles song has nothing to do with the box office results of yesterday. But honestly, yesterday came in right around where I expected it to be. Now, I'll pull it up here, but I think it made somewhere around $17 million. Some low budget, no real recognizable superstars, but Lily James is in there, so that's awesome. Yeah, yesterday made $17 million. I'll tell you what, the whole budget for yesterday was $26 million. The budget for yesterday was $26 million. Worldwide, this movie made its entire production budget back on its first weekend. That doesn't mean it's profitable yet, not at all. But I mean, when you can make your entire production budget back on your first weekend, that's not a bad start. So look, a movie like yesterday was never going to be a $300 million worldwide film. I mean, you can just tell it was never going to be that. 17 is a little low, yeah, but it's actually kind of in the neighborhood where I think a lot of people were expecting it to be. So it's not a bad bow for it, to be honest with you, considering the type of movie that it is. Let's see here. Clifford Fawcett writes, happy Canada Day. It is Canada Day, by the way. Happy Canada Day to all my fellow Pat and expats all over the world. Who, if anyone, do you think will be the new Thanos in the MCU? Dr. Doom, Norman Osborn, Galactus? I've been getting this question almost every single day. The answer is the same. It doesn't matter. Two parts to that. Number one, it doesn't matter. Number two, who says they need to have one? Like, just because they did one thing before doesn't mean they have to just copy, step, repeat the entire thing again. We could go 5, 6, 7, 8 movies where they just do individual films. I'm not saying that's what they are doing, but I'm saying there's been nothing to suggest they're going to do the same thing they just did again, only this time without Thanos as somebody else. Big bad person behind the scenes, going to destroy the universe, blah, 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 blah. They don't necessarily have to do that. They may, but really whoever they decide to do it with, it won't matter. It really makes no difference who they do it with, as long as they write the character well and give them a compelling story. That's all they need. Making Doctor Doom won't make it good or bad, because we've had Doctor Doom in 3 other Fantastic Four films, and it always turns out terrible. Because Doctor Doom's a bad character? No, but because they're not written well or executed well. And that's all that matters. They could make up a brand new character just for the screen, and as long as it's well written and well executed, could be better than Thanos. It won't be a Doctor Doom, because Kevin Feige has said you're not going to see anything involving the Fox merger takeover for years. So it's not going to be Doctor Doom. Norman Osborn is possible because of the deal they made with Sony, but we don't know if Sony may want to use Norman Osborn instead of Disney, so that's up to Sony to decide. Galactus, again, possibility, but the same thing as Doctor Doom. Kevin Feige has said, we've had our plan in place for the next 5 years, long before the Fox deal, so it probably doesn't involve Galactus. Again, nothing guarantees that it won't be those guys, but everything that Kevin Feige has said kind of, and just basic logic, kind of points that it's unlikely that it'll be those guys. And again, there's a strong possibility here won't be anybody. They'll just do individual films and not have to just copy and repeat what they've already done. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. We're going to find out soon, though. I mean, we're going to see Spider-Man tonight. Black Widow's coming in 2020. We got Black Panther 2 coming, which we're going to talk a little bit more on the John Campea Show tomorrow about. Doctor Strange 2 is coming. Shang-Chi is coming. The Eternals are coming. A lot of stuff going on. A lot of very cool things going on. All right, Epic Berserker writes, thoughts on The Secret Life of Walter Mitty? Oh, that's Ben Stiller's movie. I rewatched it again. It's such a great film. I still can't believe Ben Stiller directed it. It's a solid little film. It's a solid little film. It was very personal. I remember Ben Stiller talking about it too. It was a very personal story for him. I feel like in a few places in the movie, Stiller kind of lost control of what his overall vision for it was. But it's an interesting little film, and it's a very character-centric film about, Walter Mitty. I liked it. And the whole Time magazine, or was it Life? Was it Life or Time? I'm going to say Life magazine. Anyway, the whole revolving around the Life magazine thing, the Sean Penn angle of it as well. I thought it was a nice little movie. I really did. Timothy Platt writes, Chris appreciation post, she's awesome. And it's nice to get appreciation for Chris. She did a really good job today. JCL Productions writes, Chris is killing it. Good job, John, on casting. I'm pretty good at casting. Not always the best, but I'm pretty good on casting. And I think I got pretty lucky finding somebody like Chris. Again, Chris is going to be doing this for about a month on a trial basis and give her a chance to see if it's something she actually likes doing or not, and give our audience a chance to see if it works, and gives me a chance to see if it works. But I thought she's off to a great start. I thought she had a really good presence today. Let's see. The Nerdy Hatter writes, just bought my copy of The Pride. Oh, thank you so much. For those of you who don't know, The Pride is a novel that I wrote. I'm very excited to read it after I finish Alphabet Squadron, the new Star Wars novel. That one will probably be better than The Pride. I just started, actually. I picked up The Pride again, and I'm pulling a little George Lucas on it. In that I have in the years since I finished it, I've had a few things come to mind that I think would have made the story better. And I'm actually remaking The Pride. I'm not writing another novel. I'm actually remaking The Pride now. I just started the process of remaking it into a screenplay. And there's going to be some changes from the novel into the screenplay. Now, what I'm going to do with the screenplay, I'm not 100% sure yet. I haven't decided if I'm going to take that screenplay and turn it into a graphic novel, or if I'm going to take that screenplay and see if I can shop it around. I don't know. I mean, that's what everybody in this town does. That's what every waiter in every restaurant in this town is really doing, right? Writing a screenplay that they're going to try to shop around. Why don't I join the throng? But I don't know what I'm going to do with it. But I do know I've had this little itch in my head that there are some changes I wanted to make to the story. And unlike George Lucas, who needs to spend tens of millions of dollars to remake a movie, to me, it's just on paper, so I can try to redo it. Only this time is a screenplay. We'll see how it turns out. But thank you so much, Nerdy Hatter, for picking it up. And please do let me know what you think, even if you hate it. Go ahead and let me know what you think about it when you do. Epic Berserker writes, thank you, John and Rob, for everything you do for us. Hey, man, seriously, it's our pleasure. I love this. I'm the luckiest guy in the world that I get to do this for a gig. I get to watch and talk about movies and entertainment with a great online community, and it's just a pleasure for me and Rob. Me and Rob talk all the time about how lucky we are that we get to do this, and thank you for being a part of the community, Epic Berserker. I appreciate that, man. All right, where are we at here? All My Shit Dope writes, would love to hear your thoughts about the current war starring Tom Holland, Benedict Cumberbatch, Michael Shannon, and Nicholas Hoult. It premiered in 2017 but got pushed to 2019 because of studio drama with the Harvey Weinstein stuff and different studios buying the property. If only I've talked about that 1,000 times. No, I get it. Look, not everybody can watch. We do shows every single day. Not everybody can watch every show. But this has been a big topic of conversation that we've covered many times, current war. Going all the way back to when the trailer, I mean, yeah, the trailers came out in like, what, 2016, 2017? It might have been as early as 2016 that the first trailers came out, at any rate. This is a movie that's been on the shelf for forever, but it was at the Weinstein Company, which of course went through all the drama and its upheaval and its bankruptcy and its sale when all the drama went on with Harvey Weinstein, when that all came to light. So it's been going back and forth, but now it has a new distributor it's a part of. They've got a release date for later this year. Very excited to see it. I think the trailers have been fantastic. The cast is totally A-list across the board. I'm a sucker for based on true stories types of movies, especially things like this, things that changed history. I'm a big sucker for it. I can't wait to watch this movie, dude. I cannot wait to watch this movie. I'm very, very excited about it. All right. QS Hicks writes, if Phantom Menace came out in 1977 instead of New Hope, do you think Star Wars would be the phenomenon? No, I do not. One was a great imaginative fairy tale of a sci-fi movie. One was garbage. That's just my opinion. I know there are a bunch of people that like the Phantom Menace, and that's awesome. Beautiful thing about movies is that it's all subjective. But you're asking me my opinion. No, Star Wars would not be what it is today if it wasn't, if that had been the case. Manuel Soto, actually, we addressed Manuel's question on the main show today, so we can move on from there. Sheepdog117 writes, Conjuring / Annabelle is New Line, yet not Blumhouse. Yeah, I realized that shortly after I finished the show today, because sometimes I mix up like all horror with Jason Blum. It's just that Jason Blum seems to do everything, but you're right. Annabelle is not actually a Jason Blum production. You're absolutely right about that. Jordan Ross Weinhold writes, don't hear lots of excitement for Star Wars. Did you not see the hundreds of thousands of people that went to Chicago just for a little festival about it? Anyway, mostly Disney remakes and MCU. Maybe it's still too early. Still, remember when Star Wars was a juggernaut? Every single movie except for Solo, which I've said from the beginning nobody wanted anyway, has made over $1 billion. A higher percentage of Star Wars movies since Disney took over joined the $1 billion club than even the MCU does. 75% of Disney's Star Wars movies have joined the $1 billion club. It's still a juggernaut. Star Wars Episode 9 will make over $1 billion. I don't think it's going to join the $2 billion club per se, but I do think it's going to easily join the $1 billion club. And we're still 6 months away from that movie coming out. Right now, we've got Endgame in theater already still. We've got Spider-Man Far From Home coming out tonight. We've got Aladdin is in theaters making $800 million. We got Lion King coming. I mean, of course. I mean, I'm talking more about MCU and the Disney remakes right now than I am about Star Wars, for sure, because Star Wars doesn't come out for another 6 months. If Star Wars is coming out next week, I'll be talking a lot more about that. But absolutely, we're right in the middle of a huge season for the MCU. We're right in the middle of a huge season for the Disney remakes. Absolutely, that's getting more coverage and that's getting more headlines, even on my own channel. But yeah, that movie's still 6 months away. It's an automatic lock for the $1 billion club, and it'll be just fine. All right, Frankie Gouge writes, most rewatchable Groundhog Day. Yeah, somebody asked me earlier today, and I can get it because I do it over and over and over again. I see what you did there. Earlier today, somebody asked what the most rewatchable movie to me, it's always going to be Star Wars. I mean, I can watch that movie every day for the rest of my life and be totally happy. But Groundhog's Day, despite the gag about the repeating thing, it's still pretty fun. It's a great movie. I love that movie. Strange Marvel Theories writes, how did Steve Rogers grow old? Well, as far as I know, in the MCU, he's not immune to aging. I don't think in the MCU they ever said he doesn't age. Now, well, John, how come he didn't age when he came out of the ice? Because he was frozen. His body was frozen in the ice, so his body didn't age at all when he was in the ice. But as far as I understand, at least in the MCU, and I haven't heard anything to the contrary that I can remember, when he's up and around and living and breathing, he's aging, just like anybody else. Now, if they did say something in the MCU that's contradictory to that, I'd be open to hearing about it, but I don't think so. The reason he didn't age from when he went into the ice and came out of the ice because he was frozen. He was in the ice. Evelyn Yorquera Quiros, I'm butchering your name. I know I am, Evelyn. Just sends a super chat. Thank you so much, Evelyn. I appreciate that. David Tapia writes, excited for Witcher and Dark Crystal, San Diego Comic-Con Hall H panel. First of all, I didn't even know they were doing a Witcher panel, and I didn't know they were doing a Dark Crystal panel. I rarely go, I can't remember the last time I went to Hall H, to be honest with you. It's a madhouse to get in there. I ain't going to stand in line for 6 hours to get into a 45-minute panel for something I'm going to be able to see clips on YouTube, an hour later. Don't get me wrong. If it was like a 30-minute wait to get into Hall H, I'd go to every single Hall H. But I'm not going to stand in line 7 hours, 12 hours, 15 hours to do that. No, thank you. But I cannot wait to hear what comes out of those, though, because I'm super excited for both of those, especially the Dark Crystal. All right. But it makes sense, writes, won't ever finish my book. I'm lazy as F. Well, hey, man, at least you admit it up front. I think that's the main reason why everybody in the world who says, I want to write a book, but never actually do, is we're inherently lazy. But, dude, at least you're self-aware about it. So good on you. Nizo Strizzo writes, are you familiar with Tom Heidericks on Cinema? I have no idea what that is, to be honest with you. I don't know if that's a television show, a YouTube. I have no idea. So, no, I've never heard of that. There's tons of stuff I haven't heard of. Doesn't mean it's not great stuff, but no, I'm not familiar with it. Let's see. You seen Seven Psychopaths? Yes, I did. The cast is great, very funny. Yes, the cast is fabulous. It's got a little bit of a Tarantino vibe to it in many ways. It did not live up to its potential, in my opinion. I had a good time watching it. I did. But by the time it was all said and done and over, it's like, yeah, it was all right. It was good. But it's nothing I ever went back and watched again. I saw it in theater once. I never watched it again, to be honest. I did mildly enjoy it, though. I liked it. Terrific cast. I just never felt it lived up to its potential. All right. Joe Leon writes, watching Far From Home at midnight. Me too, buddy. Here's a sneaky super chat full of Ghibli. Did I use the term right? Well, see, Ghibli was something that came up it's just a word I made up when, not to be confused with Studio Ghibli. Anyway, it's just a word I made up when the first Aladdin spot came out showing Will Smith. I almost said Will Ferrell. Showing Will Smith as the genie. I said, he looks just kind of Ghibli. That's what I said. I said Ghibli. He looks kind of Ghibli. Like something was off about it. Now, I've seen the movie now twice and adore it. I absolutely adore Aladdin. I think it's fantastic. But yeah, that's the word I used at the time. So I don't know. We'll wait and see, man. I'm going to go see it tonight. We're going to talk about it on the show tomorrow morning. Make sure you guys join us for that. And I hope you have a good time watching it tonight, Joe. Me too, buddy. Me too. All right. Frankie Rodriguez writes, guilty pleasure movie, Kicking It Old School. Okay, let me see if it's the same movie I'm thinking about, because I'm not. Kicking It Old School. Oh, that's the Jamie Kennedy one. You know what's funny? The director of that movie had an office right beside mine in Hollywood for a while. And like he had the Kicking It Old School poster right up on the wall right beside. That's why I recognized the name for it, but I wasn't thinking about the movie, the Jamie Kennedy one. I never saw Kicking It Old School. I never did. I never did see the Jamie Kennedy classic, Kicking It Old School. I said that as if I'm mocking Jamie Kennedy. I don't. I think Jamie Kennedy was a really funny guy, but I never did see Kicking It Old School. Great poster, though. I love the poster to it. Let's see here. Manny Rivera writes, if you are going to do a prequel marathon with Anne, I recommend the anti-cheese edits. I feel you might like them better. You know what? This is going all the way back. I can't remember how many years ago. I feel like I'm the one who told everybody about the anti-cheese edits. I really like the anti-cheese edits. They're really, they do fundamentally change the movies. And they change the prequels from unwatchable to watchable, actually. And it's not just stuff they edit out. They do some changes. Like, for instance, with the Nemoidians, if I'm remembering it correctly, with the Nemoidians, instead of them, we must disrupt all communications down there. Instead of them speaking English, he dubs in some weird alien language, and then gives them subtitles and changes the dialogue a little bit. And yes, they do edit a lot of stuff out and all that kind of stuff, but I'll tell you what, the anti-cheese edits makes those movies watchable. Legitimately makes them watchable, which is no small task, man. That is no small task. Tristan Larson writes, John, I love you, but Avatar, The Last Airbender is not an anime. I don't care. I've heard it referred to as an anime, so I call it an anime. I really don't care if it's anime or not, to be honest with you. Maca FM 89 writes, hey John, greetings from Chile. Well, greetings, man. Seeing your great work for years, what are your favorite foreign movies? Well, I mean, look, lots of great foreign cinema gets made, but I have 3 all-time favorite foreign films. Number 1 is Life is Beautiful, the Italian film by Roberto Benigni. One of the greatest films ever made, but definitely my favorite foreign film ever made. My second all-time favorite foreign film is Infernal Affairs. It's also my number one, foreign or not. It is my number one all-time favorite cop movie. It's the movie that Martin Scorsese's The Departed is based on. Martin Scorsese's Departed is a remake of this film, Infernal Affairs. And it's pretty much a cop beat-for-beat remake, except instead of happening overseas, it happens in Boston. That's the only difference. Of course, won Martin Scorsese his Academy Award for Best Director, won Best Picture at the Academy Awards, but Infernal Affair, the film it's based on, is my second all-time one. And then Amelie, which is kind of funny you asked that because just somebody was asking about Amelie the other day. Amelie is also right up. So those are my three all-time favorites. Now, you may say, well, what about some Kurosawa films? Oh, yeah, those are all magnificent. But if you're going to ask me my favorite, I'm going to be honest. My three favorites are Life is Beautiful, Infernal Affairs, Amelie. Those are my three favorites. Let's see here. And our last question, then we are all caught up for the day. Our final question today comes to us from Mike Thompson, who writes, poor Avengers Endgame only made $2.76 billion. The vast margin that Avatar used to enjoy is now gone. It's true. I'm sure everyone is so disappointed. By the way, let's not pretend that it's not impossible. Or let me rephrase. Let's not pretend that it's impossible that Endgame could still theoretically catch Avatar. It's still theoretically possible. It could do it. It is unlikely, but it's possible. It looks like its run is pretty much done now. And this supposed totally mistermed re-release, because it wasn't a re-release, it's still in release, did not manage. It did right around where we thought. It even made a little bit less than I thought, but some people are saying it's going to make 20 million. It's going to make 30 million. Everybody's going to go back and see it. It's like, not everybody's going to go back and see a director introduction, a 30-second deleted scene without visual effects, and a tribute. That's all done post-credits and not changed the movie at all. If they had added in, like, say, 3 extra scenes into the movie and actually changed the movie, they may have made 15, 20 million that weekend. They might have done it. I'm glad they didn't do that. I think that would have been cheesy for them to do that. But, yeah, it didn't quite work out the way some people thought it would. But, hey, even if it doesn't catch Avatar, you know how many movies in history have made as much money as Avengers Endgame? One. Avatar, a film that has been number one all time for 10 years. For 10 years. So it's an amazing accomplishment. Absolutely amazing. All right, guys, that will do it for this installment of the companion videos. We're now all caught up. Thank you to everybody who sent in those questions. And hey, a special thanks to all you guys who sent in kind words about Chris. That's always nice when you do stuff like that. It's always a little bit nerve-wracking for somebody when they do a show for the first time, particularly when it's live. And there's thousands of people watching and whatever. So it's always really cool of you guys to send in encouraging, nice words about that. Hey, guys. Also, thank you to all of you who sent in questions and comments because you gave us fun things to talk about and you supported the channel while you were doing that, and we're very grateful for that. Hey, listen, guys, don't forget, once again, the John Campea Show returns again tomorrow. I'm going to be reviewing Spider-Man Far From Home as a part of that show, so make sure you come back and join us then. And by the way, guys, speaking of Spider-Man Far From Home, Sunday, yes, all the way, we got to wait till Sunday, but Sunday afternoon is when we're going to do our full open Spider-Man spoiler discussion. So make sure you guys tune in and plan on being here for that. All right, guys, that'll do it for me for now. Thanks a lot for being here. My name's John Campea, and until our next video, bye-bye.